Hello and welcome to my book vlog thing. I've never done one of these before, but I thought it'd be fun, so I'm gonna take you to Barnes & Noble, and in this video we actually go to Barnes & Noble twice and half-price books, and I did happen to find some books that I really am excited about, so stay till the end for a book haul and also a tote bag haul. But yeah, let's look at all these fun books. I'm so excited to tell you about why I pick out the ones that I do when I'm at the bookstore and like what makes things stick out to me, and also just like my general thoughts about like these books. Right when you walk in, we have the Barnes & Noble cafe as well as a variety of different sample tables showing you a lot of like preferred books that people are reading right now. I usually walk right past these and go over to the romantasy section, which is like the fantasy and romance. At least my Barnes & Noble keeps those things together. I am also definitely a book cover person, which is originally why I wanted to read the Sarah J. Maas books, as I thought the Crescent City covers looked cool. Tables like this one though, I don't think are aesthetic enough, and all of the colors just kind of throw me off. Time of recording, I actually was on Realmbreaker, but now I'm about to start reading Fatebreaker, and I'm very excited because this book just came out and the cliffhanger it leads you on is really tough. And every time I come to this Barnes & Noble, I'm always looking at this cover of Destroy the Day Again, but I still haven't added it to my TBR list. This is my favorite area. To my immediate left is going to be romance, and to the right is fantasy and science fiction. Our Barnes & Noble always makes these really fun tables. For example, this one has a red flag warning, which at first I thought was like an actual trigger warning, but no, it's just like, it's so hot, it has a red flag warning. This was the first book I picked up of the day, and I thought that it had a very interesting cover, and also it was a absolutely massive book. And then this book right here. This is the book that broke the world, and this is actually book 2 of a series. I absolutely hate it when you go to pick up a book and it doesn't tell you immediately that it's book 2, so you go and you start reading the synopsis and then it spoils book 1 for you. So all these books that put book 2, including this one here, The Hemlock Queen, it is the sequel. It literally says the sequel. It's very important to me. Here it says in here as well, the sequel. Kai started being really vocal and I could tell he was enjoying the books as well. And then there's this one, To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, and this was the first time I actually saw this in a bookstore, and I have been to many bookstores since and have also added it to my TBR list. Didn't actually add it though until probably like 3 weeks after seeing it for the first time, and this book is a full ACOTAR ripoff. Every time I come to my Barnes & Nobles, I'm always stopped in my tracks by these covers. However, if I ever put these on a bookshelf, I would definitely want to display them as they look right now and not like from the bindings, which could be a little hard when I'm trying to like make a lot of room on my bookshelf, you know. Sun and the Void I thought looked kind of interesting, but it's definitely like a light and dark themed romance. In this series, they take the babies and harvest them and then use their blood for a bunch of different stuff. I picked this up because it looked very dense, and it definitely is. It's a very big book. But oh my gosh, you have to read the synopsis for this. I looked at the Pariah specifically because it looks like a male POV, and I have been thinking about wanting to get more into reading male POVs, as I think that they're interesting, and I really like it when they're in female POV books. I absolutely love the Dune tables. We have a lot of Dune tables at my Barnes & Noble, and this specific Dune book I want to own so badly, but it is like, it's the perfect blue of their eyes in the movie, but it's also $60. This whole book right here is $60 for the same thing that has been published since 1949. That is like actually the price of a video game. But you can see what I mean, right? The Dune tables and the books, they all look very, very nice. I thought the City of Brass cover looked kind of cool, but after looking at the synopsis, I wasn't super into the idea, and it looked really dense for what it was. Then we have The Foxglove King, which I learned is actually the first book to The Hemlock Queen, which that cover did catch my eye. And I swear I remember this being on Kindle Unlimited, so I don't know if they just took it off Kindle Unlimited, but it was definitely there before. I'm also 100% fan of any book with sprayed edges. I think that it's a really nice extra touch. All the Book Talk fantasy favorites, which I have read quite a few of these and have a bunch of them on my TBR, including Babel. It's more of the Realmbreaker series. At the time I took this clip, I was reading Realmbreaker, but now I'm past that and Bladebreaker, and I am about to start Fatebreaker, which I am so freaking excited for. This clip I took purely for myself because I wanted to see what all of these books were later. They're all recommendations for like a romantasy hangover. And then there's the Sarah J. Maas table, and this is actually the table that got me back into reading again. I came here to find a book to read and thought Assassin's Blade looked sick as hell, so I picked it up and I just haven't stopped. So something that I've always known I was right about, okay, and I've been like gaslit about this forever, is that on the Throne of Glass hardcover sheet right here, okay, when I went to the Barnes and Noble for the first time, and then there was that huge Sarah J. Maas table, you know what I mean, I swear that I read something as the summary that I haven't ever been able to find like since. Like I literally saw it that one time and then I never saw it again. And when you look on the inside of the cover, it says exactly what the back of the original paperback says, okay? So, and also what the normal paperback says. But I swear I saw this like little summary that hooked me on it immediately. I was like, oh my god, like this is what I'm gonna read. This looks amazing. This looks like exactly what I would want to read. And again, hadn't read anything for fun before really, because I had never been medicated and also interested in reading at the same time. But now that I'm medicated for my ADHD, it's very easy to focus on reading stuff like this. And so I found it last night. I was checking to see, because of stuff you'll see later in this video, I was checking to see the edition on this book, which it's a first edition, which is cool, but as I was checking out that page, I found what I swear has existed this whole time and I've just been gaslit about, and it says, after she served a year of hard labor in the salt mines of Endovier for her crimes, Crown Prince Dorian offers 18-year-old Selena Sardothian her freedom on the condition she act as his champion in a competition to find the new royal assassin. And I was like, oh yeah, like that sounds great. Like that sounds like everything I would ever be interested in ever. And then I never saw that again. Like I even tried finding it the same day that I was there, so I must have like flipped open to the actual like IBSN page or something. But anyways, I just wanted to point out that I wasn't crazy and I knew that that was there, and that was what originally made me want to read Throne of Glass before reading the ACOTAR series, was that specific plot. On my way out, I saw this little stand, and whoever employee this is that like had all these favorites, we would definitely get along. I thought about picking up another blind date with a book because I did kind of enjoy the last one, but the one that I was gonna pick, I was like, I feel like I know exactly what this is, so I actually peeked and opened it, and it was Lightlark, which I have already read, so I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger. At the front of our store, we had all the ACOTAR books, and then the Crescent City books, so that all the girlies can walk in and grab it right away. I also found this shelf right at the front of the store. I don't know how I've never seen this before, but it has all these books on it, and all of these are like right up my alley. I have read Powerless, which is so freaking good. Like I can't recommend this book enough, and there is a new one coming out really soon, but Curious Tides, With the River Knows, and specifically To Kill a Shadow, I really want to read sometime soon. I really like shopping at Barnes & Noble for books on my Kindle, because instead of having to spend all of the money to get like a $60 book if you want Dune, for example, I can just get it on Kindle. I do have Kindle Unlimited, so a lot of the books that I do find I'm interested are already on Kindle Unlimited, so that makes it easier. And I think that it's really fun taking Mr. Kai to the bookstore. I'm excited to continue the tradition when he's old enough to remember it. I'd like us to go at least once a week, and if not the bookstore, then like a library or a secondhand bookshop or something. I just think it's fun to like open your imagination like that. I did decide to add the Foxglove King to my TBR, only to find that it was already on my TBR. But that one, and then To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, I have now marked as my next read. So I am super excited to read those. I'm almost done with Realmbreaker and also Heat of the Everflame. I'm 70% of the way through Heat of the Everflame, which is like 1,200 pages, so it's a lot. And then I'm almost finished listening through
Realm Breaker.
Day 2, and we are back at the Barnes & Nobles. Right when I walked in, I noticed that they had a whole shelf full of just what looks like everything that I would be obsessed with, including the entire From Blood and Ash series, including the spin-off books. And then they also had this one book called Feybound, which I thought was very, very interesting and definitely looks like something I want to be adding to my TBR list. I haven't read a Fey book in a while. I've kind of been in other magic type books, so this would be good. So it's been a few days since I've been back to the Barnes & Noble. We have the baby again. We always have the baby. I found this shelf, which is like the entirety of the From Blood and Ash series, and then a bunch of other books. And I'm checking them out because I feel like they don't normally highlight stuff like this. First thing I saw was this book called Feybound, which I think looks really good and I'm going to be adding to my TBR list. And then I also saw, obviously, To Gaze Upon the Wicked Gods, which I am going to read. This is on my next list. Okay, I just finished listening to Realm Breaker, and now I'm on Blade Breaker. And I am 73% of the way through the other book I'm reading at the exact same time, which is the final book in the Everflame series, which is called Heat of the Everflame. So I'm finishing up that one. But I really want to start reading To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods and also The Foxglove King. I think that's pretty good. This book, though, I loved. I adored this. This, like, I ate it up. This was everything I could have ever wanted in a book. I have been trying to get through the second one for at least 7 months now. I keep, like, picking it up when I get into a book slump, and I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll just keep reading it. Like, I bought it for my Kindle, I might as well read it. I just can't get into it. Anyways, we'll keep looking through some more of these books. But I'm kind of nervous to be filming in the store. I feel like people are gonna look at me and they're gonna be like, oh my god, is she like a book YouTuber? And I'm gonna be like, no, I'm a washed up plant YouTuber making a video about books. This book is really fun. I think it's the intro. Yeah, okay. He keeps things interesting by daylighting as a lawyer and moonlighting as a stand-up comic and gaslighting as a storyteller. This one's on my TBR too, but I don't know when I'm gonna get around to it. This book I picked up purely because the cover is gorgeous. This is a side story for the same world that 2 other books are a part of. I picked up the book The City of Stardust as well because I thought that the cover was really, really beautiful. And then I also picked up this book, A Fate Inked in Blood, which is a Viking story of kind of like what I think is like a forced marriage type situation, but also I thought that the actual book itself was super pretty. The Starless Crown I also thought looked good. This is a super, super thick book, and I think that the cover is super nice. I always judge things based on covers. And this is another book I added to my TBR, the Ash Princess series. I thought that looked interesting. And let me tell you guys, I lost it when I saw this book Powerful. I thought that this was the book Reckless, which is the sequel to Powerless, but this is a side story. And this is probably like the 10th time I've picked up To Kill a Shadow and I haven't read it. I think it looks really similar cover to Serpent on Wings of Night, which I loved, and it's not the same author, it's just very, very similar art, but I think that this is probably a book I would like. I also was drawn to this fully red book with like red sprayed edges and everything. This is Victoria Aveyard's, who wrote the other series I've talked about a lot in this video. This is the other series, which is called The Red Crown. On my way out, I saw this book called Heartless Hunter, which looks kind of small, and I don't love that it says enemies to lovers right on the front, but I thought that the cover art was really good and the synopsis looked good. They changed this table from the other day, so this is more romantic-y, kind of like book hangover stuff, and I took this clip mostly just for myself because I wanted to remember the books that they had on the table in case I get into a book slump again sometime soon. Now now we are at the Half Price Books, and I picked up this book because it looks adorable. It is a love story. The section I'm standing in right now is where they keep all of their mostly new books, and it has the Throne of Glass series, the Fourth Wing series, and then some memoirs, some horror books, some mystery books, and then some YA and romantasy, just kind of like right in the front so you can see where all the popular books are. The Revenant Games, here is that book again, and then Never a Hero I added to my TBR. I also saw this cover, which is called Murder Your Own Employer, and I thought that this cover art was incredible. Like, this grabbed my eye right away. I also checked out the cased books at the Half Price Books, and they had a signed copy of a Sarah J. Maas Barbie cover for $350. They also had this book I've never seen before called House of Beating Wings, and I looked up the synopsis for that and also added that to my TBR. I love checking out their little fairy loot cover art section. I think that the Ones We Burn looked freaking awesome. It had incredible sprayed edges as well. Like, this whole book is beautiful and it is beyond dense, but those are the kind of books I look for, and because this is a fairy loot, it is also signed. Then there was also this first edition Iron Flame book that I saw, and this is just me standing here like looking at you. I was like, hi, I'm a mom with my baby in the bookstore doing nothing, ha 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 ha. Then my world changed when the Throne of Glass was sitting on this book. I have been literally trying to find these covers for so long, and I left the original Throne of Glass there because I do already have that cover, but I was so beyond excited. I was like, is this a dream? Is this even real? They did also have an Empire of Storms that was a hardcover that wasn't for sale yet, but they said it was going to be like $70 just for that. So I was like, yeah, no thanks, but holy cow. And I was mostly excited to find the Assassin's Blade version because this one is really hard to find, and it was discounted because it does have a broken binding on it. But of all of the covers that was there, I could not believe that there was an Assassin's Blade that someone turned in, even if it did have a broken binding. Kai started getting fussy, so I took him out of his little carrier and we looked at the fantasy section together, which also has some science fiction in it. This is where they put all of the used and returned fantasy and romantasy books. I also found a used version of the entire series of The Night and Its Moon, which I saw earlier in the Barnes & Noble. And I thought this series, Lies of the Fae, looked really interesting, and I thought that maybe I will see if that's on Kindle Unlimited, because it looks like something that would be. I always think it's interesting seeing how many of the same book is returned. For example, here's 3 The Host books, and there was a 4th one, but someone had literally just taken it to go check out. And I also think it's interesting how many different covers there can be. I also have no idea why I took so many clips of Fatebreaker, but I really took a lot. Hello! So this video was like long. It was a lot of book shopping. I got a couple things and I'm so excited to show you what they are. So I got this tote. I've been looking for a book tote for like a minute. And it's a library card, which is like perfect. My one complaint is that the tote doesn't have like a flat bottom, so that would have been definitely preferable, but I am so excited. So today I left the house just to wake myself up because I have found that if I stay in bed with Kai when he's awake and I'm tired, I'll get frustrated with him, which I don't want to be. And I obviously never like act that way towards him or like yell at him or act annoyed with him because I'm not parenting like that. Internally, I will get frustrated and it will make my mornings harder. So I found that if I just get up and I take Chris to work, I put Kai in the car seat, and then I go do something for myself every day. Yesterday I went on a walk. The day before I took Kai to Barnes & Noble. We walked around there for 2 hours just to try to like be active in some capacity, even though I might not look all put together. You know, I got my mom shirt on. Anyways, point is, I came to Half Price Books today. I was like, you know what? I want to go to Half Price Books, like see what's going on, because I haven't been here in a minute. Wouldn't you know it, when I walked in, they had a couple of the original printed paperback covers from Throne of Glass, which is the very first book series I ever got back into reading. And what got me really excited is, even though the binding is broken on this one, So the Assassin's Blade one, and again, I'm not trying to get into the book collecting because I did the plant collecting, you know, but like there are some series that are just so important to me. Like I have reread Assassin's Blade like almost 4 times now. This specific book I've reread 5 times, and the foil on this is different. So it's gold in comparison to all the other books is silver. And the cover on this one, it's just so good, and thank God Half Price Books does plastic-based stickers. But oh my gosh, this cover, it's so good. I'm so excited. I wish I had found this when I was making this specific video, because I would have just loved. Oh, I found a bookmark. It's a little sticker. This specific cover is more expensive because of the fact that it has special lettering on the sides. So yeah, and I thought to look and see like what edition these are, but I couldn't figure out. Hello, we're back home. It's been a little bit. I've been editing this video that you're watching right now, and I thought that I would talk the rest about like the books and everything home, because the video quality in the car was not that great, but then also like I started to get upset, so I had to just stop in the middle of my sentence because I'm not gonna sit there while he cries and like film. No, I'm gonna take him home, feed him, hang out with him for a few hours. We did sit-up practices and standing practices, and he sat up for the first time by himself. I was talking about the editions, and my mom was like, you should check and see what the editions are, and I didn't really think about that because I don't really care about editions like she does, but I checked my copy of Throne of Glass. I got this also at the Half Price Books. I saved the sticker because I couldn't believe it. I got it for $6, and today they sold all of the books for at least like $20, except for the Assassin's Blade, which had a broken spine, so they sold it for $15. So I don't know why, especially because when I opened this one to check if I could see editions, and again, I didn't buy this one today, I bought this one a while ago. This is a first edition. It says right here, first edition. So I thought that that was cool. Usually Half Price Books will label things as a first edition and charge more money for it, but they did not do this, and they also didn't charge with a perfect spine. Like this thing looks completely, sorry Kai, this thing looks completely unbroken. Anyways, so this is the one that I already had. They did have the Throne of Glass there, but I didn't buy it because I already have this one. But so yeah, all of these they sold for $20 each, and I don't think this one is gonna be, I don't think this one's gonna be a first edition, because if you look at the books that are offered like on the back, this one is like this is so old that it has the original covers of A Court of Thorns and Roses, and this one did come out when it was only the first 2, well I guess, no, yeah, I guess this had to have been printed after this one, but they had to still be first edition. This one does not say first edition in it. Yep, this one does not say first edition. Yeah, this is also not a first edition. Yeah, this is also not a first edition, and I'm pretty sure that the Assassin's Blade in here is not a first edition because I did not see it in there earlier. Yeah, this is also not a first edition. Yeah, okay, so this one definitely is though. This one does say, oh gosh, these are heavy. Ugh. Oh brother. That is cool. So they just, whoever did this one, yeah, first US edition. Whoever did the sticker for this one at Half Price Books either was being really nice, or they were just like, we'll just list it. So yeah, $6. And then all of these ones were $20, except this one, which had the broken spine. I did get one more book I want to show you. It's this really cute tote bag. I've been looking for a book tote bag for a while. I got this book, which is a book I have not read yet. And this is called The Ones We Burn. And this is by Rebecca Mix. And first of all, love this. Super love that. Let me get the actual cover out here. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that. Look at that. That's incredible. Ooh, it's pretty. Oh, I totally did not even see that. Okay, so what I learned is that they put the cover in this cover protector. There we go. So this is the actual cover. And it took me a while to figure this out. So I'll show you in a second the other book I bought. That's a fairy loot from this. And this one is a little damaged actually on the back. Well, I guess this is the fairy loot cover, but they print the fairy loot covers on the other side of the real covers, which was not something that I knew. So we're gonna go ahead and I am a weapon, use me. I am the monster, I am the shield, I am the knife in the dark. And I looked up the synopsis for this because it did not say what it was. Obviously on the fairy loot thing, and all I read was down to the point where it's like, she's now the chosen bride, the next treaty bride, and her coven sends her to the south with a single directive, kill the prince, and I stopped reading. So I don't know anything past that, but you can kind of see the like dirt marks. That's not clouds in the background, that's just like, it's just dirty, which is I think why Half Price Books puts that like plastic cover on that looks annoying and ugly. But let me show you my other fairy loot box, which this is not that. This is like, I guess, turning into a random book tour, but this is the Octonumi. Need to read this really badly. But this is the other fairy loot one I bought from, and I thought this whole time that this was just like paper that was like really shitty paper that was slid into this cover, but no, it's actually, the cover is actually here. So this is The Darkening, and this one doesn't have one on the inside, but this one I saw and I just like fell in love with how beautiful this book is. And I am absolutely someone who will buy things because the book is pretty. So let's go ahead and put this. And I haven't read this one yet. Oh, the art is so pretty on the inside. There we go. Okay, now there we go. My two fairy loot books. I do not have fairy loot. I guess there's like a waiting list to sign up, but I'm super excited to read both of these. I just have a long TBR, unfortunately, so. I don't buy physical copies of books. 16 of my books are just Throne of Glass, the hardcovers, like the current hardcover editions, and then now this version that I've been collecting. My only other physical books are those two I just showed you, the Octonumi, and then the Serpent on Wings of Night, which I bought as a book trophy because I love this book. I read this before the girlies discovered it. I am unironically using I did this before, it was cool. This was so fucking good. This was on Kindle Unlimited and I read it. I'm pretty sure I read this in like less than 48 hours. I was obsessed. Yeah? Were you obsessed? I read this before you were born. Do you remember me reading it? You're so cute. Anyways, yeah, this is my only other book and I bought this specifically because I ate this up so much. This is probably my favorite read of 2023. Outside, like if you exclude Throne of Glass, because you just have to, because that's like my all-time high. Like it just doesn't get better than Throne of Glass. But that book, amazing. So that's all. I just kind of wanted to show you the other book that I bought and then look at the fairy loot cover. But yeah. And I'm trying extra hard to not buy books right now because we are gonna move, so I don't want to like have all these books I have to keep in places, but these are things that I just very specifically, I just love them. I love them so much. So, hi. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Thank you for going book shopping with me across 3 different days. I have a bunch of footage of me going like book thrifting from back when I was pregnant. I don't know if I'm ever gonna make those videos, but I do have them. But yeah, Kai says goodbye. He's gonna go back to sleep because as soon as I stop talking, he's gonna fall asleep again. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next book video. Bye bye.